The story begins with Detective William Somerset starting his day in his small apartment, following his usual routine. He straightens his tie, puts on his neatly arranged suit, and picks up his badge and switchblade. At a crime scene, he examines a man who has been stabbed to death, likely in a domestic fight. There, he meets his soon-to-be partner, Detective David Mills, who has just transferred to the precinct. Mills is eager to prove himself and seems impatient. As they leave, Somerset asks why he chose to transfer to such a dangerous city. Mills confidently replies that he believes he can make a difference. Somerset and Mills are called to a filthy apartment in a rundown part of town. The air is thick with the smell of rot and decay. Inside, they find the huge body of a man slumped face down at a table, his head in a plate of spaghetti. His swollen body is covered in sores, and the chair beneath him creaks under his weight. The coroner says his stomach is stretched from being force-fed to death. Somerset carefully examines the scene and notices a bucket full of vomit, bruises on the man's belly, and his tied-up hands and legs, clear signs that he was tortured. A note reading gluttony is found at the scene. Somerset warns Mills that this is just the beginning. That night, Somerset goes home, turns on his metronome, and lies in bed, staring at the ceiling. The steady ticking helps him block out the world's chaos. The next day, he asks his boss for a different case, thinking this one will take too long to solve. His boss refuses, forcing Somerset to keep working with Mills. The detectives are called to another crime scene in a tall office building. A well-known lawyer is found dead at his desk, blood pooling beneath him. His side is wrapped in bloody bandages, and they discover that a pound of flesh was cut from his body. On the floor, written in his own blood, is the word greed. The detectives realize he was forced to cut his own flesh, a reference to Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice. Somerset is now sure they are dealing with a serial killer who is using the 7 deadly sins as a theme. After finding fingerprints behind a painting at the crime scene, the detectives track a match and raid a dirty, dark apartment. The smell of decay fills the air. Inside, they find a nearly skeletal man tied to a bed, his skin stretched tight over his bones. Above the bed, written in blood and dirt, is the word sloth. Mills thinks the man is dead, but as they get closer, he suddenly gasps for air. SWAT officers jump back in shock. The victim, a drug dealer, had been kept alive like this for an entire year. Later, a doctor says he would die instantly if exposed to sunlight. Tracy secretly meets Somerset at a diner. She tearfully confesses that she hates the city and regrets moving there. She also reveals that she is pregnant, but hasn't told Mills yet. Somerset advises her not to have the baby, saying the city is too cruel for an innocent child. Tracy listens, heartbroken. The next murder happens in a dimly lit motel. A prostitute is brutally killed, and a traumatized man sits in the corner, crying and shaking. The detectives learn that John Doe, the killer, forced the man at gunpoint to wear a razor-bladed device and assault the woman. The crime is labeled lust, showing that Doe can break his victims mentally. Later, a beautiful model is found dead in her apartment. Her face is horribly disfigured, her nose cut off. She was given a choice, live disfigured or end her own life. She chose death. The word pride is written at the scene. The case takes a shocking turn when John Doe calmly walks into the police station, covered in blood, and surrenders. Tests show that the blood on his clothes belongs to 2 unidentified victims, meaning there are still 2 murders left. Doe insists on taking Mills and Somerset to a remote location to reveal the last 2 bodies. In the desert, a delivery truck arrives. Somerset opens a box and is horrified. It contains Tracy's, Mills' wife, severed head. John Doe coldly admits he killed her out of envy because he wanted Mills' simple happy life. As Mills stands in shock, Doe whispers she begged for her life and for the baby inside her. Mills didn't know Tracy was pregnant. The news shatters him. Overcome with rage, he shoots John Doe repeatedly, killing him. By doing this, he fulfills the last sin, wrath. The killer's plan is complete. Mills is taken away, broken. Somerset, devastated, tells his boss that he will stay on the force a little longer.